A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord, and in our news, government launches a major youth program. The Barbados Water Authority taking more steps to deal with the ongoing drought. The Culture Minister confident about the island's Carry Festa showing as the local contingent arrives in Trinidad. And in sports, Ricks are crowned table tennis Premier League champs with one series left to play.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
And in our top story, a Barbados delegation of over 50 cultural practitioners and administrators is in Trinidad and Tobago now for Carry Festa 14, which runs from tomorrow to the 25th. Culture Minister John King heads that delegation and is upbeat about what Barbados has put together for the showpiece. He sat down in an exclusive interview with our Shane Jones to discuss the trip just hours before he left the island.
There's a lot of excitement. Having been host country 2 years ago, you're always interested to see what's next, and on the ground, just talking to a lot of the artists who have been able to, get on board. There's that excitement about being able to meet your counterparts, being able to share knowledge, being able to learn new things, and to show what you can do. And what is really fascinating for me, because I still consider myself an artist, is the independent persons who are making this trek. And they're not only just artists per se, but they're managers, they're people who are going to do lectures and stuff like that. So I'm really happy because it tells me that Barbados is still very much alight with the arts.
That's what I want to speak to you about, the independent people, because the NCF and the committee would have come up with the 55 or so that are going, but then you have people that are saying, hang on, I want to be a part of this, I'm going to pay my own way, I'm going to contribute myself. What does that say to you about culture in Barbados?
Well, it tells me that there are some people who like myself for many years, are interested to the point where we will invest in ourselves, because we have a vision for where we want to be as individuals, but also a vision for where we would like the arts as a whole to be. And you have to make those types of investments to, one, network, two, to let people know that you exist, and three, to basically see best practices and learn, So I applaud those persons, I really do.
As a creative yourself, in terms of your career as a musician, how do you feel about our product offering that we have, that we're taking to Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, I'm pretty satisfied with I've looked at the names. I've not seen the productions themselves, but when I look at the names, it gives you a good idea of the different tiers within and the different eras, and that is what I like about it, because when you have that, you also have people outside of their comfort zone, and so it gives the more seasoned performers a chance to observe, interact with the younger ones, pass on what knowledge they have, and it also gives the younger persons who have a brand new perspective on everything to share that perspective with established artists, where they too can learn something.
When the Barbados Carry Festa 14 team leaves Trinidad and Tobago, what do you want them to leave? What do you want them to go down there and attain?
I think when we leave, I would just want the rest of the Caribbean and the rest of the world, by extension, to know that Barbados got talent. Let me just put it as simple as that. I've known this for years, and I've talked about it for many, many years. We have a lot of talent. What we need now to do is to export it to the rest of the world.
And Team Barbados is on the ground over there in Trinidad and Tobago for Carry Festa 14. They left the Grantley Adams International Airport this morning on 2 separate flights, and word is that morale is high and the delegation is pumped about their showcasing their talent at the regional festival. CBC was able to acquire footage of the group that left on the 6 a.m. flight when they arrived at Piarco International Airport. And Chief Cultural Officer at the NCF, Andrea Wells, says that they are ready.
We're We're also going to be taking part in the Grand Market with a wide cross-section of Barbadian craft, art reproductions, and wonderful things for the home and decor. We're taking part as well in fashion, representing the work of 5 Barbadian fashion designers. We're also represented in the film festival. We were very fortunate. Several filmmakers responded to the call and submitted 8 films, and of the 8 submitted, the organizers have selected 4. It's a very, very high ratio selection, so we're very proud of that and what it represents for our filmmakers.
In other news now, 2 more parishes have been added to the list of areas undergoing nightly service shut-offs by the Barbados Water Authority. General Manager Keith Roy Halliday says they've started shutting off the service to parts of St. Lucie and St. Peter, and this is due to the ongoing drought conditions. He says the situation has also been exacerbated by the recent power outage.
We are still definitely dealing with a drought situation. Our reservoir levels for the last while have still been low, and we've been managing what we call the water balance in that respect very, very carefully. As a matter of fact, we're still continuing with the nightly shutoffs in the St. John, parts of St. Joseph, parts of St. George area. And we have now recently, as a matter of fact, from yesterday, extended that same methodology, if you wish, to the St. Lucie and parts of St. Peter area. And again, as I said, this is just to make sure that we're maintaining the water balance and making sure that areas that would be challenged in terms of getting the water supply, that we're covering that as well.
People with disabilities should find it easier to get around when the Transport Board receives its fleet of electric buses. And that's because Minister in the Ministry of Transport Works and Maintenance, Peter Phillips, says the buses will be outfitted to accommodate members of that community. Our Sharika Griffith has that story.
At present, the board has about 2 units which are used specifically to transport people with disabilities. But Minister in the Ministry of Transport, Works and Maintenance, Peter Phillips, says more are coming.
In keeping with its mandate to facilitate the traveling public, including persons with disabilities, I am pleased to inform that the Transport Board will shortly be acquiring some electric buses which will be outfitted to allow persons in wheelchairs to board the buses along with their able-bodied colleagues.
Minister Phillips, however, could not give an expected date for the buses, saying only the process is ongoing and they will be here very soon. He made the announcement during the launch of the disability parking permit. It replaces the existing one issued by the Barbados Council for the Disabled, which has no legal weight. This time, the Council has partnered with the Ministry of Transport, Works and Maintenance and the Barbados Licensing Authority. Operations Manager Rosanna Tudor says the process begins with a doctor's certificate, which states the nature of the applicant's disability.
Either the person with a disability or their assigned person come into the Barbados Council for the Disabled and fill out an online application, which is linked to the Barbados Licensing Authority Data Processing Department. The applicant must provide a form of identification, Barbados registration, passport. If the applicant is in possession of a previous disability badge issued by the Council, you must return that old parking permit, if you do have it, to acquire the new one.
Ms. Tudor also stressed that the permit belongs to the user and not the vehicle, and therefore only one will be issued per person. The application process begins on September 3rd and permits will be valid for 2 years. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Meanwhile, President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, Carrie-Ann Eiffel, wants operators of public service vehicles to be more tolerant of people with disabilities. She says that some PSV operators have intentionally been leaving commuters with disabilities at bus stops.
Because they can't be bothered to wait the few seconds that it may take for persons to get on board of their vehicles. Now, as you can see, this would be very distressing in a situation where you have to wait another 2 hours before a vehicle can come along. So we're hopeful that the Ministry of Transport and the Transport Authority can encourage members of the public service community to be a little bit more understanding about persons with disabilities, because we too are commuters.
Barbadians, especially the younger generations, can look forward to some new local content on their televisions very soon. It's part of the Video 246 project, a program which has given a group of young people the opportunity to explore just how things work in front of the camera and behind the scenes. Lorna Jones has more.
In just a few days, these youngsters will complete an intensive 5-week course in video production, content creation, and programming. The Video 246 project is a joint effort between the Youth Development Department and UNICEF. Managing Director of Riveting Media, Rivelino Simmons, has been instrumental in putting the project together and is taking participants through the paces. He says it gives them a way to have their voices heard.
For the new creative economy, we have to look at, us developing our own products. So I thought this was a good way of getting young people to develop content from their perspective, their outlook on the world, rather than we always, the older people, giving them, say, do this, do that. No, let's do things from their perspective.
CBC is a partner in the project, and participants have been training here for 2 days. Assistant Program Manager for TV, Joel Ford, says the corporation is happy to be involved.
We want to reach out more to those who are in the same industry we are in. I know a lot of young people think that YouTube and all those other streaming platforms are where it is at, but there's still something to be said for public service broadcasting. There's still a lot of people who watch Channel 8, and they will find out that when they bring their content to us. So we were more than happy to be involved.
We spoke with participant Sarah Holder. She stepped out of her comfort zone when she decided to sign up, but she's glad she did.
The most exciting thing I've learned is how to produce, the whole production and the set, being on the set and stuff like that.
And it's not just about technical skills. For Nathaniel Phillip, Video 246 taught him that anything's possible.
It provides a sort of a safe place, and it allows you to be as creative as you want to be. You're allowed to give in ideas, and something that you would say this week, next week could be a whole production. And then you have that feeling of accomplishment that you produce something that you thought you couldn't do before.
Kevin Samuel is no stranger to us here. He signed up for Video 246 following an internship at the CBC.
The opportunity came up for me to come to CBC to do an internship, so that helped me a lot. I came, it was a lot of fun. It was interesting. I learned a lot, and then after that, it was sad because I had to leave.
The project will wrap up this week, but organizers are hoping to bring it back in the future. Lorna Jones, CBC News.
Regional news now, and the government and the Guyana Public Service Union are set to hold discussions on increases and incentives for public servants. This is set to be completed in time for the 2020 budget presentation.
In early July, Minister of Finance Winston Jordan confirmed that public servants in general can look forward to a salary increase when the budget is presented later this year. Last week, Director General in the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, stated that the matter of salary increases is one that will have to be deliberated on between the government and the Guyana Public Service Union.
Increases are never arbitrarily done. It is the matter of the union and the government sitting and looking at various things.
Those various things for the Director General go beyond just salary increases.
We also look at the terms and conditions under which our public servants work. So that I cannot give you a percentage that will be offered because that will be arbitrary. What I can say to you is that the union and the government, they would have to meet, and there's going to be a determination as to what needs to be done in the immediate, in the medium, and in the long term for public servants.
Additionally, it was noted too that government is very concerned that public servants enjoy a quality of life that is consistent with a nation on the rise.
St. Lucia's Civil Service Association says the government's negative response to its request to waive the taxes on the 2016 to 2017 salary increase is surprising. The association says it and the other public sector unions had gone to great lengths to cooperate with the government during the negotiations and expected better support from the Alan Chasney administration.
The Civil Service Association says it's disheartened and disappointed with the government's decision to turn down its request to forgo the taxes on the 2013 to 2016 salary increase.
We had asked government to consider providing the back pay payments to public officers tax-free. The GNT gave favorable consideration but said that is purely on the purview of the Cabinet. Cabinet met, considered, and disapproved of granting the tax waivers on the back pay, and has since written to us indicating that it's not something that we can get.
The CSA's president, Cyprian Montrop, says the government's failure to cooperate on this matter is not in keeping with the spirit of the negotiations and the very conciliatory manner in which the CSA has dealt with this much protracted negotiations.
Bahamas Deputy Prime Minister is empathizing with the residents of New Providence as they continue to be affected by prolonged power outages. Now, for months, the Bahamas Power and Light Company has been operating a load-sharing system in New Providence as it deals with a number of challenges. Now, Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest says government leaders have met with the power company and they are confident that relief is on the way.
As a government, certainly feel for our citizens, residents, and the inconveniences that they've had to endure during this period.
Since May, BPL customers have had to suffer through hours of load shedding as the company seeks to meet demand. And with little coming from the Prime Minister or the Minister of Works, who has responsibility for BPL, the Finance Minister was asked about the silence of the nation's leaders on the issue.
The only thing I can say at this point that they can be assured that we are working diligently together with BPL to try and bring resolution to this matter.
On Sunday, BPL CEO Whitney Hasey said he could not guarantee an end to load shedding in the immediate future, describing BPL as being on a cliff. He added that the company needs 250 megawatts of generation to meet summer demand, but is only running on 210, including the 105 megawatts of rental generation. However, according to Turnquest, BPL execs made a presentation to Cabinet yesterday on the way forward and their plans to fix the issue.
Well, switching it up and bringing it back home now to the headline story. Government is looking to roll out a new comprehensive youth program called the Barbados Youth Advanced Corps, which is expected to harness the potential of the island's youth, open new opportunities for training in strategic areas. At the same time, it is expected to help government build out a future development plan for the country, while also tackling issues of youth indiscipline by giving young people more opportunities. And this is from Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley, who notes that the program will be similar to the Barbados Youth Service, which will be collapsed but on a much larger scale. Ryan Broom joins us now with all of the good details. Good evening to you, Ryan.
Good evening, Lisa. Yes, just back from that very packed post-cabinet press conference this evening. Ms. Motley says government has allocated $20 million over the next 2.5 years to the new initiative, which is expected to be rolled out from this September. Now, she made the remark this evening during that post-cabinet briefing at government headquarters.
And the students will receive a monthly stipend of $600 to help them get there and get home and take care of themselves. But effectively, that 2-year period will be a combination of learning, discipline, citizenship reinforcement, and also the ability to participate in some form of work attachment, first job initiative, apprenticeship, or mentorship, depending on the individual. And you would appreciate that the numbers are large, and therefore there has to be a range of opportunities given to them. The element of the Civil Defense Corps means that they will be working between the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Ministry of Education and Technical Vocational Training, but above all else, the Prime Minister's Office with the Ministry of National Security and the Barbados Defense Force in particular. By effectively becoming and establishing this Civil Defense Corps, it also means that in the event of national emergencies, that we will have a corps of people who would have been trained in basic things relating to first aid, disaster, relief, all of the types of things that are necessary in order to be able to help us out of a disaster.
Now, as I told you, Lisa, it was a packed press conference, so another major development tonight on the heels of international press reports that a British woman who recently died from injuries sustained in a fire was attacked by someone who had dosed her with an accelerant. Now, Commissioner of Police Tyrone Griffith, who was also at that press conference, says contrary to the reports carried in the British media over the past 24 to 48 hours, there is no evidence to show that 44-year-old British visitor Natalie Critchlow was murdered. Commissioner Griffith gave the update on investigations into the circumstances surrounding Ms. Critchlow's death during that post-cabinet press conference at government headquarters. Now, the mother of three was pulled from the yard of the house where she was staying on July 28th, and she was rushed to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, badly burnt, and succumbed to her injuries on August 6th. Now, Commissioner Griffith says their investigations, which included high-resolution security video footage from a nearby residence, revealed that a fire broke out at the house just after 1 in the kitchen, where Ms. Critchlow was cooking for relatives who were expected at the house. He said residents and workmen in the area went to help, breaking away a sheet of galvanized to get into the yard where they found Ms. Critchlow. The commissioner also addressed the rumors that an intruder had entered the home at Sergeant's Village and choked and doused Ms. Critchlow with a flammable liquid.
Investigations to date have focused on closed-circuit television from an adjacent house, and this is of very high quality. Examination of this footage has clearly demonstrated that no one entered those premises for hours prior to the fire taking place. The corrugated fence was fully intact, apart from the sheet that was removed to provide access to the victim. The footage shows that the fire originated in the area of the kitchen, and was concentrated there. The side of a saucepan was completely burnt away, leaving the bottom of the remnants of food. At the bottom, the remnants of food. 2 gas bottles were found in the kitchen area, one with no negligible damage, and the other having the area where the gas head normally connects the bottle, melted. The victim's clothing was taken away to be examined forensically for any traces of accelerant. The scenes of crime officers indicated that there was no smell of accelerant in the house or on the clothing of the victim.
So, Lisa, you see some major developments there on the heels of those reports in the British media, and there are other stories to come, and we will be sharing them with viewers over the next day or two regarding the squatters at Rock Hall St. Philip. But for now, it's back to you.